Greetings, everybody. Dave DeWalt here. I'm the founder and CEO of NightDragon, and we're coming to you live from the RSA Cybersecurity Conference here in beautiful San Francisco. RSA, if you don't know, is the largest cybersecurity conference in the world. And this year here in San Francisco, it's the largest RSA event ever held. This is my 20th RSA event, so 20 years. Sometimes I feel old when I say 20 years, so I apologize, but it's amazing to watch the cybersecurity industry grow. And I get the opportunity with my partner NASDAQ to talk to some of the hottest cybersecurity companies here. In fact, the hottest cybersecurity companies, and interview the founders and CEOs. So what a privilege for me. Today I have an amazing guest, Yotam Segev, who is the founder and CEO of Cyera, which is one of the hottest companies, as I mentioned, in all of cyber. Yotam, thank you for joining me on this show. Really appreciate you. Tell everybody, if you would, what does Cyera mean? And then what market are you serving? Got to hear a little story about the company name too.
Terrific. So Cyera came from cyber era.
Cyber era.
Yep. I think many people think that the cybersecurity industry has already reached a peak, but I think me and my co-founder believe that it's only begun. And what we're seeing today is only the early innings of cybersecurity. This is going to become a much bigger industry with much more impact on our economy and the way we live our lives.
Absolutely the case. I watched it firsthand for 20 years, and I like that cyber era. Now I got that. I always ask founders about the name. Tell a little bit about what the product does in the marketing category that you're working on.
Cyera is the leader in DSPM, data security posture management. It's a new approach to an old problem. So we always set out to protect data. That was the goal of many of the security initiatives and projects we ran over the last 30 years. But I think that with the change in the IT landscape, with the change in the amount of data that organizations are collecting, the variety of data, and the criticality of that data for the business, a new approach was needed in order to enable organizations to actually focus on the data that matters, which is just a tiny, tiny part of the vast amounts of information they're collecting and generating every day, and to make sure that those crown jewels, that data that matters, is protected well, while the data that clutters, maybe we can get rid of it, maybe we can ignore it, but we don't have to spend so many cycles on it. So DSPM allows you to differentiate between the data that matters and the data that clutters, and it allows you to focus your security efforts on what really moves the needle for you.
I like the marketing of that, the data that matters versus the data that clutters. One of the things that I've had is a couple keynotes and events already, and one of the things everybody's been talking about is this data loss prevention, archaic solutions that are in the market, and the need for new data management solutions. And DPSM category and what you're doing is incredible. Last year alone, if you don't know this, was the highest amount of breaches and the most amount of data ever stolen from the data breaches. So boy, do we need this capability and this technology going on. Tell a little bit about where you're at with the journey with Cyera and when it was founded and kind of where you're at. And I heard there was a pretty big round of financing recently. Talk about that.
Yeah. So Cyera is a young company. We're less than 4 years old, but moving quite quickly in the market, and very fortunate to partner with some of the leading organizations in the US and across the globe in order to really reinforce and accelerate their data security programs and their security programs at large. We recently raised our Series C funding, $300 million from Cotu, from Spark Capital, from Georgian, and from our existing investors, Sequoia Capital, Excel, Cyberstarts, and Redpoint. And we're using this immense capital injection in order to double down on our product and our engineering to really build a platform that will enable enterprises to simply deal with their data security challenges. I think many CISOs that might be listening today have had bad experiences or challenging experiences in the past going after data security initiatives and trying to improve the position of the company in that regard. And the name of the game today in 2024 is time to value. It's ease of implementation. It's how successful am I going to be adopting this software? How much impact am I going to be able to generate for my enterprise? And how quickly? And if you can make that equation into a very, very, very attractive one, then you have a place in the market and you've got amazing customers to work with in cybersecurity and across the C-suite in the enterprise.
I love the vision. Just so you all heard that, 300 million, now over a unicorn in less than 4 years. Very impressive size and growth of what you're doing in an important market category. I almost think of you sometimes, I hate to say it, almost the whiz for data management, and what Wiz has done, you're doing as well, an amazing trajectory of growth in life. Where do you see the company going? I mean, what do you want to do? I mean, I understand, I know you're building companies, you know how to build it. So what's the journey? You want to go public one day? I mean, what's the outcome that you like to see?
I think that going public might be a milestone at some point, but I think the really important aspect for us is to solve big and important problems for our customers and to do it well. If our customers love us, if our customers want to do more business with us, if our customers want to use us for more use cases and more requirements across the enterprise, and we can help them with more, and we can do that well, then I think that that's the metric that I try to stay aligned to, and everything else follows. Revenue follows, investors follow, everything follows the customers, and the customers in cybersecurity are shrewd. They know what they're talking about. They've seen a lot. They've done a lot. They know what works and know what doesn't work. And I think that for us, the top priority throughout our journey is to serve our customers, to do what's best for the customers, and to really look at this huge problem, data security. It's a very siloed and complex problem that enterprises are dealing with, and not be afraid to challenge the status quo and say, okay, maybe things that weren't possible in the past, maybe we can do them completely differently today. And I'll give just one example of that. If we think about automated data classification, right? This concept that something automatic will be able to differentiate between the data that matters and the data that clutters, that was for many years something that wasn't really done.
Right. I tried to build them a few times. They're hard.
But when we look at the world today, we all have ChatGPT in our pocket. We understand that the ability to use AI and to use machine learning and to understand and contextualize data at a level that was never possible 20 years ago, it's here.
Yeah.
And we have to harness that power. We have to harness that technology for the good of these enterprises and our customers.
What's the size of the company now? Employees, customers, just any metrics you can tell us about where you're at in your journey?
We're coming up at 250 employees right now, over 100 customers, most of them big enterprises, and growing quite rapidly into the market. At a company like this, the slope is usually quite steep.
Yeah.
So every quarter, every year for us, the company is a completely new company, reinforced with people, with talent, with customers, and with a lot of product that wasn't available just a quarter or two ago.
I'm always so energized and inspired by founders. Ladies and gentlemen, Yotam Segev, who's solving the data security problem, a company called Cyera. Keep an eye and watch for this company. Thank you for joining the show.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for having me.